Imagine you are a 20-year-old boy and you have suffered a lot in your childhood with your grandfather not approving your mother's marriage. And finally, after completing your study, you move back to your grandpa's house. Your grandpa is dead, but you own his house. So during one of the socialization session, you go to a party. There you meet this artist dude, and he's like very calm and focused on his work. So he asks you to be his model, so he can paint your portrait, and you say yes without understanding why he would choose you. But then it turns into different sessions attending to complete this portrait, and during one of these sessions you meet his best friend Henry is weird. He is this calm, collected dude, but he also has some weird values in his life. He believes in pleasure, he believes in beauty, and he thinks beauty is the most important thing in this world, and anyone with beauty can rule over this world without even trying that hard. And after the portrait is completed, you realize you are the beauty. You are the one of the most beautiful creature this world can offer. And in that realization, you feel great, immense anger, pain, greed, envy of yourself, of that portrait. You ask God, why can't this portrait age instead of me and I stay youthful my whole life? And surprisingly, God listens to you. He goes, okay. And without even realizing it, the painting is not only lifting your weight of aging, it is also using its own consciousness to bear your sins. Whatever sins you commit, it won't affect you, but it will affect the painting. You won't even feel it. You won't feel any regret, any compassion, any guilt, any shame. It would all be on the painting. If that happened to you, what would you do? Would you finally indulge in pleasure after suffering so much in your childhood? Would you go in influence with Henry and actually indulge in this pleasure instead of just thinking about it? Or would you keep your morals even when it won't affect your consciousness? This is the story of vanity, greed. This is the story of hedonism and selfishness and narcissism. This is the story of Dorian Gray. In the book Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde, our main character Dorian Gray goes through this exact dilemma. Or he doesn't go through dilemma because he already decides he will indulge in the pleasure. After Basil makes a portrait of him, Dorian realizes that he is one of the most beautiful person in this world. And according to logic by Henry, beauty is the most important thing in this world and beauty can win over anything. But youth is fleeting. And Dorian doesn't want his youth to be fleeting, so he wishes to God, to devil, must remain youthful for his whole life, and instead the portrait that is drawn by Basil should grow. And surprisingly, God is like, okay bro, and he agrees. Not only the painting is growing, it is also taking the burden of all the sins, all the crimes, all the stuff that Dorian commits on his own head. This is literally the story that speaks so much about narcissism, so much about hedonism, so much about vanity and what it does to a person. When I was trying to read Crime and Punishment, this thought came to me that no matter how much a person runs away from his consciousness, somewhere along the line it will grab you. The consciousness will grab you and it will try to hurt you. Plus, the more build up guilt, consciousness, shame, everything that you put in your heart and do not let it out, it will put that much pressure on you, and that's how much worse it will become. So during the whole book I was being like, Dorian Gray is going to suffer, Dorian Gray is going to suffer, and suffer he does. Suffer he does, okay? At first Dorian Gray commits little sins, like tiny little sins, whether it was I don't know, breaking up with his girlfriend and giving her the worst reason possible. He tells her that he was in love with her because she is an artist, and now she is not an artist anymore. He doesn't want to marry her, so that breakup leads her to kill herself. And this thing, instead of haunting Dorian, that because of my idiocracy my girlfriend is dead, he calls it aesthetic ending, a Shakespearean ending, if you may. And that leads to him being cruel. And when he comes home and sees his own portrait and he sees how wicked he looks now that he has committed his first sin, instead of going like, oh, maybe I should not do that anymore because my portrait is like literally telling me what is happening in my heart, he goes, no, I will commit even more sins because now I'm not growing, now I'm not suffering anything. Oh, no matter what I do, I won't feel any guilt. So how about this? I will just commit more crimes, including murders, literal murders. So first of all, it starts with these simple sins where he would indulge more in pleasure, if you know what I mean. And he will, like, anyone who came in contact with him was left in ruins. The woman would lose her reputation. The men will lose their honor, house, money, life. Yeah, like there is literally the scene where a guy kills himself after being friends with Dorian for too long. And there is also a lot of people who lose a lot of money because of him, because they also try to indulge in this life of pleasure. Which then leads Basil, the only good person in this whole book, I believe, to talk to Dorian, and he's like, dude, what are you doing? This is not you. This is not why I drew your picture. The picture was clearly shown because I loved how innocent you were in our first meet. It was more so about how you behave, how you acted, how innocent your soul was, and now I don't see any soul itself. When shown the mirror, Dorian does what was obvious. He gets angry at Basil for showing him the mirror, because up until now he was living happy life without consciousness, without realizing that he has turned into a monster. But now that Basil has shown him that he is a monster, he has to confront the fact that he is a monster, and he can't accept that. So he does what any rational human being does. He kills Basil. So after murdering Basil, it's like whole thing like moves out from the town for a few years, and when he returns he's like of same age, but now he is even more cruel. And in all this, the girl who killed herself, his girlfriend, her brother also tries to kill Dorian. Okay, like he is about to take revenge, which is very obvious, very normal thing for people to do. So he wants to kill Dorian, but before that happens, Dorian kills him by tricking him, obviously. But this whole thing related to his ex-girlfriend starts haunting him again. I'm like, if you are so weak that everything is going to haunt you, why are you committing crimes? Just don't commit crimes. Oh my god, it's so easy. How am I teaching Dorian Gray don't commit crimes? I'm like 1 year older than him anyway. So that happens, and he goes into that guilt trip, and he is like, I am going to be a better person. He doesn't, but he does things that he wants to become a better person. So he does what is obvious. He does not date a girl. Like, he likes this girl, he looks at her and he goes, yeah. But he does not date this girl because he is a changed person. He does not commit sin anymore. So he does not date this girl. But Henry, I hate him. Henry confronts Dorian and says, did you really leave her be because you want to be a better person, or because you think you are in this movie where you are this good main character? Like, at the end, are you doing it just for yourself and not for the goal? And Dorian is offended. He's like, excuse me, this is not about me, okay? This is about her. And I'm like, dude, this is so about you. And there is this movie, A Picture of Dorian Gray, obviously based on the book. But it's not a good movie, but the actor is really good. So in the end, Dorian kills himself. Like, in both movie and book, Dorian kills himself. But the Dorian in movie is very different from Dorian in book. So I will tell you Dorian in book. Dorian in book tries to change himself because of aesthetic reason, because of himself, because he doesn't like seeing himself as an ugly old hag in the portrait. And that's why he tries to kill the portrait by stabbing the portrait. And in return, because his soul was in this portrait, his soul dies, killing him, making him look exactly like the portrait, and the portrait turns back into what Basil had drawn. Now, this is very different from movie Dorian, because the movie Dorian was actually really in love with Henry's daughter. Weird, I know, but he was in love with Henry's daughter, his best friend's daughter. So, to protect her, he sacrifices himself and in process kills himself. Though in both the movie and book, they end up in same state where they are this old dude, and the portrait is back to how the portrait was before, like before all this shit happened. So that's the main point that I think was different in book and movie. Like, the movie was more optimistic. The movie was like, yeah, people can change. Yeah, people can fall in love for real even though they are suffering from narcissism. But like, I am a little pessimistic, so I kind of think that the ending in book is more suitable than the ending in movie, because like, Dorian has been alive for a long time, and his whole thing is that he takes pleasure and he does not focus on anything else except this pleasure. So by making it like he changed in love, we are actually changing the fundamental things about Dorian, that he is not focusing on pleasure anymore. And if that was happening, the portrait would change drastically, because it represented his soul, his real inner thought process and all that. And actually this book is so like goated that there is a syndrome named after this book, the Dorian Gray syndrome. So I had made a previous video on this, but I was not able to post it because it was getting too long. It is getting too long right now as well. So I thought that I should divide it into two things, because I wanted to talk about how many people nowadays are suffering from this Dorian Gray syndrome, and I also wanted to talk about the book. So today I talked about book. Tomorrow I will make another video and I will talk about this Dorian Gray syndrome. So I know my channel is mostly about this, books related stuff, and I'm not trying to shift into commentary channel, but I feel like this is connected one way or another to books. So I'm going to talk about this part of book as well, where I will be focusing on the Dorian Gray syndrome. And I don't want to make one video too long, so I will divide it into two videos. For now, I will just say that Picture of Dorian Gray is one of the greatest book I have read. Its pacing is little off because I did not like its pacing, especially when I heard it on like Audible. But apart from that, it is one of the great book that talk on hedonism, nihilism, and vanity of people in general. How much people focus on their youth and their looks, and how much importance we as a society give to these things, even though they probably will ruin us in the future. So I think this is one of the like classical novels that is more relevant in today's time, when it's like the social media is so easily available. Social media is ruining our perception of how people look in general. So I will make the second video tomorrow. I'm still doing some research for that video, where I'm collecting the data, because what I think is not important, like I can think that this is more prevalent now, but I want to research and see like if it is really happening more than it happened before, or it is just my imagination because now we have social media. So I'm doing some research. If I find it that it is prevalent and what is going on in this world, I will make the second video. If I find out that no, there is not that much change, and people are not focusing that much on looks, then I will not make the video. But let me know, what do you think about this? Should I make this video? Should I make that video? Like focusing on looks, especially girls, because while I was doing some research for that video, like when I made it first time, I did find out that more so women are doing these plastic surgeries and botox and all that to look young. So mostly for women, like would you like to watch a video made on this topic, where are women focusing more on looks and what is leading them to do this? Let me know in the comments. Maybe that will help me decide whether to make this video or not. If you like the video, like the video. I am not really that much of a detailed person, but if I have watched a great video on picture of Dorian Gray's review, so I will find the video. Like I had watched it way back, so if I find the video, I will link it in my description. I will check if I can find that video, and I will link it in the description. If you want more information on how picture of Dorian Gray like depicts hedonism, vanity and narcissism so well, especially narcissism. I think the video focuses a lot on narcissism of Dorian Gray, and it kind of does not focuses on the part that Henry plays in the book while changing Dorian's perception of things. Like even though he's constantly telling Dorian on how he should indulge in pleasure, he's never really doing that himself. Like he's just tell and no show. He does not do what he says. So that's also a good point that I think many people miss about how fleshed out these characters are in total. But yeah, if you want, I can put that link in the description. Thank you for watching my video. It was really amazing sharing this with the book that I love the most in this world with you. Bye, see you in the next one.